If y'all have not ever watched one of our shows, this is Unpacking Culture, where we always apparently like to have technical difficulties because that just happens without fail. So, welcome. We've been on hiatus. I'm Tiffanie Lanelle, and that is Alex unmuted, Alex Haynes, whenever he comes back, because I don't think y'all heard his introduction. But we have been on hiatus and we have been saying we've got to talk about this. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about that. Blah, 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 whatever. Enough is enough. Of course, we have the coronavirus epidemic, outbreak, all the things. And if you missed it, there was a debate tonight. And now we're only down to two candidates and all the things. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. There was a debate tonight. And yeah, hopefully we can get some good topics going through. So I just did a whole introduction that I know was broadcasted because I also have it up. So I said that we're going to talk about the debate. We're going to talk about the coronavirus epidemic outbreak. We're going to talk about the fact that we only have two candidates left and all of the things. I can't even, we may get some other topics in, like, I don't know, a certain Florida governor. And yeah, so we'll see. Anywho, if you missed the debate tonight, there was a debate on CNN tonight. It, of course, featured the only two Democratic candidates left, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. I have so much that I could say, but I'll wait for my colleagues to come back. If you have just been doing all the things for the past few weeks, yes, those are the only two candidates left. Unfortunately, Elizabeth Warren, of course, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, all of those folks dropped out. Andrew Yang dropped out, and he then endorsed Biden not too long ago. The point of the debate tonight was supposed to be for Sanders to try and ask some questions, kind of grill Biden a bit, because in his last presser, he somewhat admitted that he knew he probably would not win the nomination, but he wanted to at least press Biden on some of the key issues and some of his key positions to try and, I don't know, swing support. I don't know. For a while there, it was a bit annoying as they just looked like two older white men yelling at each other on a stage, which I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of sick of in the political arena. But Senator Sanders did kind of keep his word and press him on quite a few issues and some of Biden's political voting history. They talked about the Height Act. They talked about, well, a lot of things. Alex, I don't know if you have another synopsis that you want to add to the debate, as I know you just watched it as well.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you.
My God. All right. There is a God here in this today. All right. So I just realized what was going on, and I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't right.
That's what happens when you get a fancy new studio.
All right. Let's do this for now. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't tell you what's going on. We'll figure it out. All right. So,
on the debate.
Let's get into it and let's get over it. I checked right out. I wasn't there at all. I have no interest in hearing two white grandfathers go back and forth and escalate with each other. Like, I had no interest in that at all. I missed almost all of yours. So, hopefully.
I actually just said the exact same thing that you just said, that I was very sick of just watching two white men fight and escalate on TV. So I'm glad to see that we are still once again on the same page. For those who missed it, highlight of the debate, at least maybe for me, was that Biden said that he would more than likely let me correct that. He said that he absolutely would pick a woman as his VP candidate if he was selected for the nomination, the presidential nomination for the Democrats. The question was then posed to Senator Sanders, would he do the same? And he said he more than likely would also select a female as his VP candidate. So not a solid yes on Sanders' side, but one of the moderators even pressed Biden on the issue once again and said, let me just, before we move on, I just want to clarify, make sure, let me get this straight, heard you correctly. You are in fact saying that if chosen for the Democratic nominee, you will select a woman as your VP candidate. And he said, yes, I will. So that was good to hear. I also noticed one of the questions from, I believe it was a viewer question from Arizona. If you're in Arizona, don't forget that you vote on Tuesday. One of the questions was basically, what are you going to do? How will you handle hiring in your cabinet if chosen to make sure that women's issues are highlighted in your agenda? And some of the issues that were brought up were, of course, reproductive rights and financial equity in pay. Of course, all the women's issues like that. And Biden said that he would make sure that he hired a Black woman in his cabinet. And that's when the VP candidate came out that Biden said he would choose a woman as his VP candidate. Sanders kind of gave a similar answer without saying he would hire a Black woman. He, throughout some of the questions and his answers, stated that he would make sure that his cabinet would, reflect what America reflected. It would have Latina, Latinx, African American, white, gay, straight, all of that.
So, real question.
So that was a good. Yeah.
Do you feel like he meant that?
Biden?
Bernie.
Or Sanders?
Bernie.
I'm not the right person to ask. I don't trust any politician at this point, on either side, to be honest with you. And I think the only sincere thing that I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that was said tonight, two things. One, I do think that Biden will now choose a woman as his VP candidate, because if he goes back on that after you're done. Two, I do believe that no matter what happens, the Dems will come together so that they can get 45 out of the office. I don't recall what the question. I don't recall what the question was, but there was a question, something about what are we going to do, or how are y'all going to come together, or something like that. And they both gave probably the most that either of them has any of the questions all night. And Sanders said, at the end of the day, if we don't agree on anything else, we agree that this person who is currently, as one of my favorite people said, understudy of the White House, if we don't agree on anything else, we agree that he has got to get out of the White House.
Listen, at this
tragedies are commonplace.
Like I said, it's not, forget tragedies. If you've never been here before, you're like, what the hell is wrong with them? They can't get it together. It doesn't matter where we are, who we like.
Nope.
We've been in the same location. We've been in different locations. We've been all over the world, and it does not matter. Once we hit that live button, problem.
Yep.
Problem. And it literally has nothing to do with us. So Tiff had a whole lot to say about Bernie and Biden. She's upset that I missed it. I'm upset that I missed it. I'm not going to bitch about missing it. I missed it. And that's that. We're not going to talk about them old men too much because there's so much that has unraveled since we left you last. As you know, as the purpose of this show is for us to spark the conversations you should be having in your living room, at your brunch table, at the kickback, and right now, you should be having any of those. So, now, these are actually conversations you should be having on FaceTime. Or not at all, via text message. I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Responsible social distancing.
Okay, so let's get into that. What does social distancing mean? I stumbled all over that, and no, I have not drank anything. And have I partaken? Yes. What does social distancing mean to you?
Okay, so it depends. If I am near people, for example, I went to one of our good friends' baby showers yesterday, and when I got there,
I know you see me doing other things. We effed it up for 15 minutes, so I'm trying to let people know we back. So don't pay attention to me. Listen to Tiff. Sorry.
I did the same thing while you were talking, so it's fine.
Don't look at me. I can feel them looking at me, but I don't care.
Don't feel judged. Don't let them do that to you.
I don't at all. I don't.
So
you know me.
I went to one of our good friends. I do. I know you. I don't think you've had a care in you since we've met.
Wow. So what you're not going to do is go all the way there. We can go here, there a little bit, but you're not going to do that.
I would like you to find the lie. You can't. It's fine. We don't have that kind of time.
To that point, when we met. Next.
Okay. So I went to
Where were you?
One of our
one of our friends'
baby showers.
Right. Place I'm not welcome.
Well, no.
If I was welcome, I ain't gonna be there.
We're aware.
Her, but you know.
She's aware. We're all aware.
All right.
So I got there yesterday to help set up and all the good stuff. And when I got there, we all like it was we're not touching.
Oh, so y'all were So is it? Do you think it was out of habit? Out of
no, because this particular friend we always embrace, and the group of people that were there, because I got there early, they're all family and friends and all of that. So we all typically give a hug, and not a church side hug, like a hug. Hey, embrace.
A family. No. This is the family thing. We're gonna do this right.
Right. So even amongst family, it was like your face is right here, mine right here. We just okay, that's close enough. Responsible social distancing.
I don't see the problem.
I know someone else who their baby shower was canceled.
I heard about that one as well. It's probably not the same one. It probably is.
Probably not, but it is what it is. I just got a notification that the mayor of Atlanta has declared a state of emergency, which Governor Kemp declared a state of emergency for Georgia, I think a day ago, maybe 2 days ago. Okay. We have 99 cases here.
I'm about to sneeze. I don't have coronavirus, but go ahead.
Bless you in advance. So the CDC has recommended gatherings of oh my God.
I feel like I did though.
Ooh, you need to Lysol that. Jesus. My man needs to Lysol my mic, my screen, my AirPods.
I got it. It's all right here, so don't worry about me.
So the CDC, for those who have not seen it again, are recommending no gatherings of more than 50 people. It varies from city to city. I can only speak for my city in Atlanta. The mayor said no gatherings of more than 250 people, because if you shut down gatherings of 50 people in Atlanta, you essentially shut down the city. Like everything's supposed to shut down.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you finish.
So social distancing, I think, varies from city to city, state to state. But I think that it's going to, as this progresses, it's going to get more and more restrictive as far as what that definition looks like, so that we can try and, as Dr. Fauci said, flatten this out so that it can start to decline in numbers and not continue to increase over time. So we're just going to have to see what that means. But I was a germaphobe. I know you're a germaphobe. I was a germaphobe before this beer virus came out. I don't touch gas pumps. I don't touch buttons on ATM. I'm not touching none of that.
Listen, I don't touch you. I don't touch it.
That part. Ain't nobody doing that.
Me looking at you sideways is not because I think you nasty. I think everybody's nasty. So it's not, I do think you nasty. I just think it's not specific. So you said a couple of things that we got to touch because the people watching this, the people that know us, a lot of people, I don't know how many people have now told me that I need you to be watching things like the debate and the news because I get mine from you. So I know that we're similar in that way. If you heard the name Dr. Fauci, it doesn't mean anything to you, but there's a little midget man. He's 79 years old, and he is the voice of coronavirus at this time. He's next to Trump. He's next to Pence. He is a midget man. He looks like the male version of Sophia Petrillo. If you are a fan of Golden Girls, you know exactly what he looks like. If you hear his voice,
that's exactly what he looks like.
That's exactly what he looks like. That's exactly what he sounds like. He looks like, and there was an episode that she got with her ex-husband's best friend, and they started dating and reminiscing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I thought that was that man, but that man has got to be dead. That episode premiered in like 1986. He was
old then.
Yeah, he was old. That man, if he was still alive today, he would be a good Methuselah. Okay. Anyway, so this guy is leading. He's like leading the coronavirus task force. He's the doctor. He's the person that is really, really leading and spearheading everything. Okay. It's important that you know him as we kind of backtrack and talk about how we got here. At this point, I want you to share this stream. And I don't usually say this because I don't care what y'all do. You can listen to it on the podcast. You can listen to it here. But I want you to share it because you're going to hear it. You may not be able to articulate it the same way that we explain this. There's a lot of reasons that I want you to share it. If y'all have been talking about the Rona and y'all are like, oh, I don't know. You know what? Everybody is extreme. I don't know if they're playing us. I don't know. People are all over the place with this issue.
Right.
And so we're going to step through exactly how, and not exactly because I don't have names, but I'm going to give you a synopsis. I'm going to give it to you in a very black way. You know, I'm going to explain it to you like your cousin or your little brother, because, you know, your older brother is extra, but your little brother just says things on a very, very basic level. It's just, and I say that proudly because a lot of people that I know who they talk to their little brothers, that's the experience. Okay. Anyway, go tell people to come in here. They don't have to stay the whole time, but we're going to explain the Rona. We're going to talk about why it's really, really important that you do practice social distancing. That's where we were going with that. Also, it's extremely important that you know that this is not about how clean your house is and frankly, how clean your ass is. And I didn't know another way to say that. But
both should be clean. Let's be clear.
Both should be clean. And sanitizer is not a cleaner. It's called
it
a sanitizer.
Is not a cleaner.
It's there to like. I feel like that's a very, very, very basic thing. But there's no reason, and it's not just in their neighborhoods, in our neighborhoods, that we're out of sanitizer and the aisles are full of soap. There's no reason for that.
If you go to a restaurant, don't sit behind at the table and use hand sanitizer. Get your ass up and go to the bathroom and actually wash your hands.
Or if you're not going to do that, don't touch me.
Or my food.
All right. So here's the thing. You guys remember swine, and I'm not even... Did I tell you about the H5N1 or H5N2? Okay. You guys remember H1N1. You know, everybody was talking about swine flu. And if you're too young to remember that, you're too young to be watching this. If you guys remember after that, there was SARS. And all of these world epidemics that became pandemics because of irresponsibility. Responsibility issue sounds better, but irresponsibility was right.
Okay.
All of these were types of a coronavirus. So coronavirus, basically it means like upper. So something about your upper body means corona. In what language? What medical book? I don't know. But that's partially what it means. But
I'm
if
still
you
gonna call it
look
the
on
beer
the back
virus.
of the household products that you have, that you should definitely have, because I believe you clean somewhat. The people I know clean. If you look on the back of one of your household products now, Lysol, not Febreze, but the ones that really clean. You know, y'all be spraying Febreze like that's bleach, and it's not. You still stink, but Febreze on the back of Lysol, bleach. There's a number of household products that you have. You go look on the back of them right now.
What about Fabuloso?
That's deadly. So it has a lot of chemicals that are not. I don't think they couldn't be FDA approved because the fumes will kill you. Yet our people burn that to make their house. They boil it to make. On the back of those bottles, one of the things that it says that it disinfects is coronavirus, okay? So the name of what we're experiencing right now is not coronavirus. It is a coronavirus, but it's not like, and you could say you got the corona. That's because it's like you got the flu. It's the same thing, right? But it's not the flu. Please do not be one of those, I hang on one word Negroes, that it's like, oh, I heard it was like the flu. It's not. Because most of y'all heard it was like the flu, like from this asshole that's in the White House. And frankly, he heard one word and he didn't even know that people died from the flu. So first and foremost, regardless of who you voted for, you should not be taking health tips from a reality star. Let's start right there. Second, this virus, COVID-19, is the official scientific name attributed to it. From what we know right now, and mind you, Tiff is going to fact check me, but we're going to play on facts with, between the both of us. There's not a lot of information on it. I kind of sit in front of the news all day and do the news all day. So I'm going to give you what's out there. COVID-19, what we know is that it generated initially, I got to use quotes here because I'm not going to say allegedly, because there's lots of speculation on where it actually came from. But what we know, based on the data that we have, is that it came from disease inside of bats. Now, I read an interesting theory. I don't want to say it's fact. I got 20 seconds to tell you what I heard about how it generated, but basically they ate something that a pig chewed up or something, or the pig spit out, something like that. There was contamination there. It went back to us not taking care of the planet. And so pigs eating waste, bats eating either that waste or something that they've had, them getting sick, and that actually creating the virus that's deadly to humans. Now, a lot of you heard two things, right? It's just like the flu, and it's taking out old people. So while you should be protecting your grandmother at all costs, you know that we have wrapped, what's that called? Saran wrap around Cicely Tyson. We're extremely protective of her in this season. And actually right now we just need to say, Father God, if you would just wrap your angels and your love and your everything around Eve, the original. The original woman. Okay, so it ends up in China. And people start getting very similar flu-like symptoms. And so what you know about it right now is that if you're under the age of 60 or you don't have respiratory issues, that asthma, is including but not limited to your lungs, your heart, asthma, if you're from the South, and smokers. That's one piece, like we keep leaving that out. If you are 2 days away from lung cancer and you know it and you still smoking, you are at risk for the Rona. Absolutely. That's
not funny.
And if you've been smoking weed since you knew about weed, you're probably okay. There's clouds there. It's just not tar. But there's clouds, so I would say you're probably at risk too. I'm not telling you what to do or not do. I'm just telling you what makes you more susceptible to this. Now, this is the key pieces, right? Because some of y'all took your ass to church today. Just very stupid. Very, very stupid. Oh, well, I love the Lord. And You could have
God
loved the
has not
Lord.
created a fear.
Listen, I attend Bedside Baptist weekly. Always a good word. A quick scroll of the podcast. Of course, the Bible app is there for me. And you know more than most people is like I just regurgitate what's in there often. So I wanted to poke for my church going folks. I did want to poke just a little bit of holes in what your pastor told you or how he prophet lied to you about getting there today.
Oh,
since
we
last came to y'all, Tiff was not a what do you call it? A theologian, but she's one of them now. She's in the theology school. She's going to get one. She's going to be reverend. She's reverend.
the Lord,
the right reverend.
Oh, don't do that.
Okay,
do not do that.
I want to get this, and I want to talk about the virus and why, like, y'all are still going out and doing things that you should not be doing. Like, you really like, and now your cities and your states and the country in a couple of days, like we're headed towards lockdown. Like, if you don't notice, if you can't figure it out, like your company had like loose, maybe you work from home, rotating teams. Now everybody work from home. We don't know when you're coming back. NBA gone, soccer league gone, a baseball got a late start. Like, you name it, it's closed. California, bars, nightclubs, closed. New York, earlier, they asked you to close nicely. Y'all were all open tonight. All of you. Closed. Effective 30 minutes ago. Closed. But for those of you, despite these warnings, you went out and I'm not talking about the grocery store. You're going to places where you're congregating with people. You're accidentally spitting on people while you're talking. You're doing all types of fluids and things are touching and leaving. And you should not be in these places. But Christians, I got it. Tiff, you know how I am.
It ain't just Christians. Let me be clear.
No, I got to talk to them first.
Oh, okay. As you will.
Because I saw, I don't, you know, I was a part of a crowd that there's a lot of church content that I see. That's all. I'll say that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So 2 Timothy 1:7 says what? For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So y'all was quoting that, trying to get people there. Y'all was on your way there. Quoting it like, oh, God hath not. I'm not afraid of no sickness named after a beer. Shut up. Like, you can think it, don't say it. Because if you think this virus is named after the corona, like, all right. Anyway, God hath not given us a spirit of fear. So we quote that. I've heard it. That's probably one of the third, maybe that's a little early, 3. Maybe the 5th or 6th Bible verse, you know, that my dad had me write when I got put on punishment. You know, that's after the beatdown. Then you write a scripture 500 times. But y'all, if you're not a PK, you don't know nothing about that.
Just nothing about that.
I'm going to make them write the word. What type of punishment? Anyway. So
I had to rewrite the Bible one time.
So here's my thing, right? And we're not getting into, we've got old shows that probably talked about this, a scripture manipulation. I call it biblical abuse or weaponizing the word or the Bible, whatever you want to call it. People that
also use proof texting for my theologians that are watching.
You said what?
It's also called proof texting for my theologians that are watching.
Yeah, I talk to simple people, so, you know, that's wonderful. You know what they do, and you know, and I've been like we've been here before. I've been thrown out of many a church. Okay, many a church. So
many a time.
You take it, you weaponize it, but then you have to align it with actually the character of God, and that's oftentimes like, you know, I don't know who taught me that, if I was taught that, but I applied this in 2 situations. Not that we preaching tonight, but for those of you that are like, oh, I hear God speaking to me, but what God tells you is alternative to what you can see that he's generally told. Like, it's not going to be the exact same, but God has like a character. You know, there's like not like your character, but he has a character he, she, whatever you may, has a character that that you can really align to, right? So
right.
It's like God told me this asinine thing. No, he didn't. That pizza that you ate last night really didn't give you a dream, but you're hallucinating a little bit. And you know, people like to blame job loss on God. They like to blame everything on God. Them not believing in God, on God. Like, he gets the blame for everything. But I just wanted to say, because I didn't want to spend that too much time on you Christian people, because I could really go in on y'all all day. You know, like, as someone that follows Jesus, believes, confess, you know, I just have trouble calling myself one of y'all, because it's
wow.
No, I don't. Actually, I don't have trouble with it. I don't call myself one of y'all. But here's the thing, right? Proverbs 2:6. God basically says that you said what?
I said, here we go, y'all. Come on.
Well, you know, from my mouth comes knowledge and understanding. I give you wise counsel. That's literally, that's in the book of wisdom. So if you wanted to like align yourself or try to figure out God's character, you could probably go to this place and find it, because it's all about, you know, my favorite scripture. I was telling somebody just 2 hours ago. I was like, you know, they're like, well, you know, you listen before you respond. You say you're very reserved. And I said, it's I got that from my mama, definitely, but it's a trait that I believe is effective in communication, but it also aligns with what is my favorite scripture. And everyone that knows me knows this, because I probably said it to you when you talk too much. Proverbs 18:13 says, answering before listening is both stupid and rude. Okay, that's the message version, but that works for me. Stupid and rude. So when you answer before listening, whether it's God talking to you or bae, it's stupid and rude.
It is.
But I want it for this.
I believe that's what 45 is doing, actually.
Absolutely. Well, I think though, like, y'all are going alternative to, like, people are dying. And you may not be the risk factor, but to say God has not given me a spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind. And, you know, these people need me to get specific sometimes, right? So I gave you a Proverbs. I'm kind of showing you the character of God. And then there was this guy that wrote 2/3 of the New Testament that Christians like live all of their life by, which I think was low key, probably schizophrenic, but that's not up for debate. He did write 2/3 of the New Testament that you follow. So he also wrote 2 Timothy. So when he said right there, God hath not, because God's not saying to you, God's not like Donald Trump. He doesn't speak in third person. So he's not like, I, God. No. But Paul was writing that God does not give you a spirit of fear. So like, well, give me something else that he wrote that kind of aligns with the character of God. I'm glad you asked. Ephesians 5:15 and 16. Very simple. So be careful how you live. It's important that I read this scripture. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Wow.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. Don't live like fools.
Don't.
But you fools took y'all asses to the church house talking about God said, but God didn't. All right. I got more scriptures, but I'm going to move on from that. So you shouldn't be there, and this is why. COVID-19, this coronavirus, lingers in the air for 3 hours. Accurate, Tiff? Is that right?
It is.
It means that stank is just there. It's for 3 hours, but you can't smell it. You don't know what's there.
Somebody sneezes and you walk through it 2 hours later.
Somebody, all of that. Everywhere. That's disgusting. 3 hours. It lingers on surfaces for 3 days. 3 days. So you've got something that lingers in the air. It doesn't matter if you brush your teeth and wash your ass. It doesn't really matter. If you are carrying it, we're going to get to there. 3 hours and then 3 days on the surface. Which is why that Lysol says that it will disinfect coronavirus, because it knows it's on the surface. But here's the thing. It also lingers in you for 10 days.
Right. Which is why they say you could be walking around anti-symptomatic.
Asymptomatic, meaning you're not exhibiting it. It doesn't even feel like you got
I was speaking simple. Anti. But speaking of symptoms, we should go over the symptoms.
Well, I'm gonna go right to you for that. 10 days. That means that for the last 10 days, if you got the Rona and you just had your ass out everywhere, places that you didn't have no place being, you have infected. If you are a walking Rona, you need your ass whooped. You really do. You just really do. And then you need to be quarantined. But I really think that you should be popped. Somebody should really just and I'm not really here for corporal punishment, on children and things like that. But grown ass adults that don't listen to wise counsel.
And we don't mean 45. That is not wise counsel.
But let's talk about
in any sense of the word.
Talk about the symptoms. Take me there.
Okay, so the symptoms include, but are not limited to, runny nose, sore throat, cough, fever, difficulty breathing in some severe cases. Now, that's just a few of the symptoms. Mind you, again, you could be walking around with no symptoms whatsoever, meaning stay your ass at home, unless you just absolutely have to go out. You could also be, again, for those joining late, you are more prone to this if you are elderly, near elderly, as in like you work around with elderly people. If you already have
around the Shirleys and the Nancys and Harold.
Never mind. I'm not doing this with you tonight. If you already have any kind of underlying condition and I'm going to take this a step further. In my humble opinion, an underlying condition is not only asthma, other respiratory issues, diabetes, heart disease, any of those medical conditions. Just not getting enough sleep and taking care of yourself can make you your immune system weaken, which means you can also catch it that way. So with them telling you to get water, make sure you have food, all of that, it's also so that you are taking care of yourself, getting rest, so that your immune system does not become even more compromised and you are therefore more prone to it. So those are some of the symptoms. Those are some of the underlying conditions that can lead to you getting the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. Again, the CDC has now recommended that everyone stay indoors as much as possible, avoid gatherings of more than 50 people for at least 8 weeks. This does not apply to schools and businesses. However, many school districts, many businesses, many cities have already closed their facilities or done limited hours. Many cities have alert systems. So go to your city's website, go to your county's website, make sure you sign up for those alerts and see what's going on so that you can not only be well informed, because the Bible also says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, but so that you can also share the wealth of knowledge that you are getting with those in your circle. Be a FaceTime. I'm done.
I wasn't trying to get you to go there, but.
Well, you already know me. You already know I was going to. Did I mention my people perish for lack of knowledge?
Yeah, it did. You did.
Which, by the way, some of y'all we've been on this soapbox since last year. Some of y'all still don't have a single news app that is delivering news to your device. And we just don't understand. I mean, you're welcome to download ours, one of the best apps that I know of, Black News Alerts. You can also go to blacknewsalerts.com.
On my side, when you said this, I just want to make sure it was heard. Black News Alerts. Black, A-B-L. Black. Like black. I'm mad we did that at the exact same time, but.
We've been friends for too long.
Whatever.
Black download the app, go to the website. If you don't have anything else on your phone, do that. Download that app. We send push alerts. We make sure that you are getting all of the information. Make sure you download the app. If you don't have anything else on your device, if you already got the app, first off, thank you. Second off, grab your friends' phones and download it for them. Y'all have got to stay informed, not just about the coronavirus, not just about our politics, but about everything that impacts your world, period. Like there's literally no excuse at this point for you to not be at least somewhat informed of what is going on today. We have a debate. We had a debate tonight. I'm sure many people didn't watch. We have primary
Housewives was on.
Don't nobody care about that. We have primaries going on, and a couple of states have postponed their primaries. A couple of states have purged voter registration.
Can we have a family conversation real quick? Because I know, our actual family that's usually rocking with us on these is probably not here tonight. The first technical difficulty, but they will be back later. And of course, the podcast, if we have not said this, if you miss any part of this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything, you can just type in Unpacking Culture. We pop up. There you go.
There you go.
So, in so many ways, I feel like, do you know how disappointed I am when somebody tells me that I'm 33 years of age. You are 33 years of age. We are the same age, okay? We have been through a lot of the same things. So when I'm talking to somebody that is 33, 36, 39, and it seems as if, like, I know that I'm not going to remember a lot of things, but there are things that just kind of come up in repetition. So if you present just really, really, I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to stay away from words that are blatantly insulting and kind of lighten it a little. If you present as very dense, like you don't know a lot of information, from geography to how to pronounce, the name of like a simple name like Pelosi. And I'm using her as an example, but there's a lot of, there's like, oh yeah, that Nancy Pelosi lady. Who? It's important for you to be aware and it's important for you to be informed. But we're going to have a little family conversation here.
I'm close, y'all.
Real close, all right? So everything that done happen, and let me preface this by saying this. If you are a person of color and you identify with what we're talking about, I think that's wonderful. I really do. This is generally for Black people. Now, if you're white and you're like, oh my God, I thought they were the same thing. They're not. Especially not in this country. It's just not the same thing. And so white people, not your ancestors, but the people that are alive now, they thought that, they don't like saying Black. They don't like saying African American. They don't know which one works for us. It was once colored. Black works for me just fine, okay? The people in Africa don't want me identifying as African American. I've been there and they were like, no, you not. But I am. Y'all don't know history either, but that's fine. I have to say this first before I talk about the responsibility that we have. And I'm talking to Black people, right? White people created POC to make themselves feel comfortable. They also can group all of the POCs that are not white because that's very evident who we are, right? We don't look like them. So it's different. But they also don't have to talk about the painful history that they are instrumental in creating for us. So it's easier for them to say that. So first and foremost, do not let that slide when they're around you and referring to you, Black person. I am a POC in every other country, but here I'm Black, and that's what that's what you will refer to me as. Now, Black people, now that we've got that clear who I'm talking to. I'm gonna say them people, but I mean the ancestors that you speak of when you think you can cook and you're like, oh, how much did you use or what's the recipe? I don't know. The ancestors speak to me. Them ancestors that y'all be talking about, they did a lot of fighting and sitting and hurting. And they went through a lot of things. And a lot of people would think right now, well, they gave us the right to vote. And that's not just that, because there's so much more. Like, our responsibilities here are so much more. Especially in places like Atlanta, which is near and dear to my heart. Because, I'm ATL till I die. I'm never moving back, though, because it's not in Georgia, and I just can't do that. It's anti-Black. Georgia,
that is, not Atlanta.
It's very anti-Black. Atlanta is the most Black positive place that I've ever lived. That said, Atlanta alone is not to say that gentrification is not going to affect, and that evil spirit, if you will, does not infect as it tries to take over what it abandoned, because that's usually what it is, right? They abandoned an area, white flight, y'all all know it. If you don't, you may be speaking above your head all night. That's okay. You can come on up higher. White flight is something that happened in tons of metropolises in our country. Basically, the whites left the cities, moved to the suburbs, and went further and further because they didn't want us there. Fine. They come back into the cities, they gentrify. In so many areas, in so many different Black cities in the country, they've actually started to annex and create their own cities. They're stripping the power away from the cities that you have. Atlanta, Dunwoody, Sandy Springs, South Fulton, Brookhaven.
I am triggered.
All of those were once Atlanta. It's stripping its power. But further than that, there's a responsibility that we all have. Do I think, like I said, if you had to come on up higher tonight, maybe not. But there's something that you can do. Do I think that everybody needs to be a commissioner? No. Does everyone need to go out and try to be a state senator or, in the Congress of your state, or run for governor or run for mayor? No. If you're in one of those places, like St. Louis comes to mind because it's been annexed 1 million times, 1 million cities inside of St. Louis County, everybody's a mayor. If you're in a city like that, become one. And I say this a lot to Tiff. I think the problem about voting is not that Black people don't want to vote in the general election. I think it's that they voted, especially within our demographic, in these elections where they live and nothing has changed.
Right.
And so they see that their vote doesn't matter. I voted in a College Park local election. Old Nat still looks the exact same that it's always looked. Even with the megachurch there that pulls in 50 million, it looks the same that it always looked.
Wait, can we have that's our next quick topic. Go ahead and finish.
We've been going for a minute, so I think we're justified in whatever we say.
Let me have a conversation with the church really quick. I have a serious problem. And you know this about me, Alex, and it gets worse every day. I have a serious problem, especially in a Bible Belt state like Georgia, where there is literally a church on every corner. And that corner has looked the same since 1930, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Even because it is now the year of our dear Lord 2020, I don't understand why you are walking past that person sitting on the corner that's experiencing homelessness, but you keep walking into your church house, giving your tithes and your money, and you are still not doing the work. If you don't do anything else, Alex just talked about what you can do in your community. There are some things you can do in your community. Figuring out who your congressperson is, going to visit them, go sit in their office. You have the right to go sit in your representative's office. You go in, you can schedule an appointment, you can send an email, you can make a phone call. But if you go in and they are in the office, you can tell their office, I would like to meet with my representative. They will let the representative know that there is a constituent in the office to visit them, and you can go in and express your concern. You can go in and say, here's a bill that is about to hit your desk.
And you should.
And you should. Here are my concerns about it. Here's what I think, these are the impacts of the community and your constituents. Let's have a conversation. You will be amazed at what those conversations can do. Go to your church and challenge your fellow church members, your pastor, your deacons, your elders, your reverends, your whatever, and see what work your church is actually doing. Because if you're just giving to a building fund and ain't no building being built in the 20 years that you've been going there, and you give into I'm gonna say something. You give into a fund that's supposed to be for the future, but they're using it today, but it's not actually going towards anything that any work that the church should be doing, there's a problem. If you cannot actually list some of the work that your church is doing, stop going. Challenge them. Ask the right questions so that you are not just funneling money into someone that's giving out biblical propaganda.
Let me give you this disclaimer, because you won't do this, Tiff. Let me do this. If you go challenge them people, they're going to kick you out.
Probably. We've been kicked out before. It's fine.
But challenge away.
So be prepared for that. But
challenge away.
Challenge. And you don't have to go in a confrontational position, but you should go in with questions.
The truth is going to get your ass kicked out, but that's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there. But my point is, as humans, Christian, Jewish, atheist, whatever, as humans, we need to start remembering that we are all humans and start treating each other with the dignity and respect, just being human. Stop walking past that person on the corner. Stop looking at that person at the off-ramp and not having a conversation with them. Stop just walking by and not saying anything when you see a family on the street. Sure, they're probably, on the street. You see them every week or every Monday, every day or whatever. The thing is, if they are out there even doing a hustle, that means they need that dollar probably more than you do, because they have resorted to doing that. Have a conversation. Figure out what community services are in your community or at your church, and have a conversation with them about those services that can be offered to get them back up on their feet. I am willing to bet money. I had a conversation with someone from my school earlier today. There is going to be an impact, not just on our public health system with this coronavirus. People are about to be out of work for a month, 2 months, 3 months. People are already missing paychecks.
People are
not going to be able to make insurance payments, not going to be able to make rent payments, mortgage payments. There's no daycare that's open, but they do still have to go to work. Where are their children going to go? There are so many impacts to this epidemic that we still aren't really talking about, because we're just trying to figure out how to flatten this epidemic out. But these are concerns and impacts that we need to be looking at and looking for and trying to get ahead of right now. I just found out that our major community food bank in the city of Atlanta is moving to the South Side. This is a problem, and it's a big impact. It's a bigger impact than I think a lot of people are talking about right now. Things like that, be aware of. Try to figure out some resolutions ahead of time, whether you're clergy, layperson, again, atheist, Jewish, whatever, your denomination, your religion, your spirituality, lack thereof, whatever, don't care. As a human, person to person, figure out what you can do in your community. And if you need ideas, message one of us. Happy to help. Talk to your neighbors. Join one of these multiple neighborhood apps that you can join to actually start becoming more like the community that we all used to be in. I'm off my soapbox. I'm done.
In line with where she went, that's exactly where I was going. We have a responsibility to be involved in more than just the voting process. That means for you, and it should mean for you running for something. I don't care if it's your child's school board. I said this in an episode last year. 2019 was the first year that the district that I went to school in had a person of color, said intentionally, added to the school board. So you can't bitch about the teachers, you can't bitch about the principal, you can't bitch about the policies if there's no representation for. And I know if you followed us for a while, you know we believe in representation. You need to be there in every aspect. Don't tithe somewhere just because you grew up tithing and you don't know nothing about the place. Sorry, like, how often do you just go to your local grocery store and drop off money?
Without receiving something or seeing someone else receive something.
Ain't like there's no tally. You remember in elementary school they would put tallies up like when the class was in trouble or something like that? So stupid.
My God.
But you're not getting any like extra marks in heaven because all right. Run for something. Get involved in something. Do something. We really want you to be involved in whatever it is you feel drawn to, called to. And that's what all of this is for. Like there was a hiatus. The world was becoming the world was too much. In fact, Tiff will tell you 2 weeks ago, I was like, maybe we got it all wrong. Maybe we're actually in hell. And I thought that, but we're down here working for nothing, and that's what hell is. Like, you're doing the same thing. You're not receiving anything in return. I'm part of a people that has been oppressed since the planet was created.
Heard.
Maybe this is it. And we're talking about a theoretical Satan, but like, maybe this is it. But it's also a place for us to make sure that you are aware. So as the election nears, there is an increasingly important responsibility that we have to bring you information and content that you don't get anywhere, but also have those conversations. One of my favorite conversations that we had that you can go listen on Spotify or wherever, we unpacked marijuana.
That was a good episode.
And I'm not saying that it was my favorite episode because it's marijuana. Like, it was probably the one that we gave you the most information and ammunition to really, really help your community and snatch some people and put them back into place when the system has snatched them out of it. Just providing you with that type of information. It was important too that we gave you some thoughts, some information on the coronavirus. I wanted to read this statement from the office of the mayor in New York. I think it's probably a little bit more extreme than some of the ordinances that have went in place. Mind you, earlier today, a couple of things happened in New York City today. For those of you, like I said, we said they don't have news apps or you live under a rock or whatever it is, for whatever reason that you don't indulge in the news. The governor and the mayor of New York City were very, very adamant about not closing the schools. They wanted people to, it affects so many. There's 1.1 million students in the system. 70% of them eat breakfast and lunch at school. So they did not want to cut those meals for those kids. I saw some chatter from our community. Like, well, that's not the school's responsibility. If the parent has based their budget on feeding their child one meal a day, and whether the lunch is subsidized or the school is paying them for $1.50, the parent now has to factor that into the budget for the next 2 months or for however long this happens. So they did close the schools today. The mayor said that these schools will be closed until they will try. What he said is they're closed indefinitely. They will try to reopen them the first time on April 20th. He doesn't know if that's going to be successful. So he basically said, parents, you'll have to count this as the end of the school year. And that was that. One interesting thing I wanted to mention, if you're a New York viewer or listener, the schools will treat tomorrow, Monday, as a snow day. Tuesday, the schools will open again so that the kids can resume going to get breakfast and lunch, but they will not be in school. They will also practice social distancing for the kids as they come get their breakfast and their lunch. And that will be through April 8th. I don't know if they're going to extend it past then, but that's the plan for that. They closed, so that's 1.1 million students affected. Cities all over. I saw the state of Ohio, the state of California. I know, Tiff, you mentioned Georgia in some instances. New York just released a statement that our lives are all changing in ways that were unimaginable just a week ago. We are taking a series of actions that we would never have taken otherwise in an effort to save the lives of loved ones and our neighbors. Now it is time to take yet another drastic step. The virus can spread rapidly through close interactions. New Yorkers have in restaurants, bars, and places where we sit together. We have to break that cycle. Tomorrow, I will sign an executive order limiting restaurants, bars, and cafes to food takeout and delivery. Nightclubs, movie theaters, small theater houses, and concert venues must all close. The order will go into effect Tuesday, March 17th at 9 a.m.
Period.
Not Nan restaurant.
Nah.
So I hope your house is clean. Because you're going to be spending a lot of time there.
And if it ain't clean, you got time to clean it now. Put them children to work. That's all I'm saying. And yes, as you mentioned, there are some select cities and counties in Georgia that are offering meals to students. That's another thing that you can do in your community. Even if you don't have children, there is a family or a child near you that is in need of one of those services or in need of those 2 meals that some of these counties and districts are supplying. There are community sites, schools, businesses, churches that are helping with these efforts. So figure out what those resources are within your area so that if you do run into someone who you're not going to pass, because we just talked about that, you have that information readily available to help them and say, there's a community site 1 mile away that is offering, 2 meals between 8 and 5 p.m. or whatever the case may be. So yeah, get involved and be aware of the public health impact so that you can be mindful of it for your own family and for those around you and share the information. We're going to get through this, y'all. So just be careful. Be clean. Please be careful. Don't do stuff like, the video that my colleague here posted of the man drinking soup out of a ladle in a grocery store. That's nasty. Don't do stuff like that. But be mindful, be careful, be safe. If you don't have to go out, don't. Some of y'all probably need rest anyway. You've been looking at that stack of papers on your desk for 3 months. Don't take care of it. You've been looking at all those clothes in your closet, go and fold them. Get some stuff done. Do spring cleaning early. Whatever you need to do. Alex, did we have any honorable mention topics that we wanted to do?
Well, I'll say me. Beginning tomorrow, big announcement. I will be back on the radio every afternoon at 1 p.m. And so 1 p.m. Eastern. So, two things I wanted to say. A lot of the things that we covered, Tiff and I, we've committed to really updating the Unpacking Culture page with information about our culture, information that you need, and things that we discuss here. So the Unpacking Culture page, you'll get that. You'll get clips to this. Of course, the podcast is available. Make sure you go there. Honorable mention, me. Tomorrow I'm back on the radio on our... Yeah, that logo right there. On Boss FM Talk. It is the Black Talk channel. Probably the one that's going to take over the world, but if you don't have the Boss FM radio app, download it from your app store. It's Boss FM. Just type in Boss FM radio. It'll come up in the Apple Store. It'll come up in the Google Play Store. It looks like that. And if you scroll, there's a picture of me in there. And tomorrow you scrolling? You not scrolling? Oh, you kind of scrolling? No, go the other way. Go back to the top. Go back to the top and then scroll over. 1, 2. Bam! That's me. All right. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm with you Monday through Friday. And I'm really gonna go there. Okay. I'm not limited by Facebook. Facebook shut me down last week for posting the man eating the soup at Whole Foods. But I give it to you straight. And so the goal, actually the slogan for the show is like, you're at work, I'm at work, but I'm in your ear. But you're not going to be at work. You're going to be working at home. So now you really don't have an excuse. If you are at work and if you are one of those essential workers in one of our cities, or you are actually out doing the work that can't be done from home, I'll be talking to you as well. Okay. And I think we're going to have a good time. I'll try to get Tiff to come and sit in and chime in as much as possible. Can't promise that, but I do have some great things lined up, and I definitely want you to be there. So, Unmuted Nation, it's a new show on Boss FM Talk. Premieres tomorrow at 1 p.m. It'll be a little raw these first couple of weeks. I ain't been on them airwaves in a while, and it used to be so early in the morning, so I was a little bit contained. At 1 p.m., you getting it straight. You doing this the right way. All right. So 1 p.m. download the Boss FM app. Follow on Instagram and Twitter. We'll start posting on there as well. Unmuted Nation. It's very simple. I'm Alex Unmuted. I host Unmuted Nation. Bam. All right. You have any honorable mentions?
Oh, I am not coming back to the radio yet. Not honorable mentions yet. I'm working on some things. But if you are in need of or whatever, you have a question, drop us a line. You have a topic you want us to hit, drop us a line. Whatever. Yeah, I don't have any honorable mentions that I can think of. But you're welcome to hit me at Lanelle everywhere, including .com. I think that's it for me.
Very good. I cannot believe the city's closed, but it is. So I will chat with you guys all tomorrow at 1 p.m. This podcast episode, it's going to sound crazy because we ain't been here for a minute, but it'll be there. Make sure you check it out and share it on Spotify. But most importantly, listen to the Boss FM app because it's there.
Because it's there.
Support Black as much as possible. All right. I don't have anything else, Tiff.
I'm good.
All right. Well, you know how I feel. Oh, it was supposed to say, make sure you check me out on Boss FM, but there you go. All right. You know how I feel. Today is greater. Tonight has been greater. Believe it, speak it, and live it. You have to make the choice to be great. Your situation is not your destination. So instead, make it your motivation. All right. We're out of here. Later.
Peace.